Hi everyone, this is Amanda, and in this video I wanted to take some time to talk about the cornerstones of INFP productivity. So just to give an overview to start, the three cornerstones of INFP productivity, which would be the unique qualities that INFPs have that impact our productivity, are number one, intuition, number two, slowness, and number three, variety. So I'll go through these one by one and talk about why they're important to INFP productivity and how they can potentially cause issues if we're not used to working with them. So the first one that I mentioned is intuition. And the idea here is that INFPs are not interested, we're not energized or motivated by following a completely analytical or linear process. So in many cases, when you're seeking out traditional productivity advice, it's coming from that analytic, linear perspective. And like I talked about in the first video in this little mini series, a lot of the advice you're going to get is about creating more structure for yourself and being really scheduled, like really taking out space so that you have to do things at a certain time. But INFPs are generally going to hate this. What we want to do is we want to flow intuitively from one activity to the next. And that essentially means checking in with ourselves in the moment and seeing where we're feeling most pulled towards. What activity has our attention? What task has the most energy? And we're doing that by using our intuition, by getting some kind of an intuitive signal that we want to go towards that activity, or possibly a body signal. Like a feeling in our body, and those two things are related. That's why I'm putting them together as one. But we wanna to put it in kind of a cliched term, we want to go with the flow, right? So intuition is wanting to use our intuition is a quality that we have that gives us some unique productivity challenges, because typically productivity is talked about in terms of, like I said, more analytical, linear methods. Okay. Now the second cornerstone of INFP productivity is slowness. And I really couldn't come up with a better word than that. I wanted to say speed, but it's really a lack of speed. That is the issue. So I always like to think about this as, if you remember the fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, we're definitely the tortoises of the world. We're not that fast. We have to move into things gradually. We tend to need to take our time with things, especially things that are new or unfamiliar. And generally, we're going to have a more plodding pace, right? So just like the tortoise in that fable, who just moves very slowly and very steadily towards the finish line for the race, that's what we're going to be doing. And one of the reasons why we have a tendency to move so slowly is because we're trying to get used to our feelings about something. So we have a lot of feelings. That's probably pretty clear to you if you're seeking out INFP information and you're watching these videos. Yeah, we have a lot of feelings about stuff, and when we get started on a big project or any kind of like a goal we're pursuing, the tasks and activities around that, we can have a lot of feelings. Like I know when I take on a project that's large And it could be familiar or unfamiliar. It makes a lot of feelings come up in me. And I have to take my time really processing through those feelings and allowing them to settle in my body. And that's why I don't move quickly very often. I like to move at that slow, steady pace because it helps me to process everything that's coming up in me and to have that new energy really settle into my body. So, yeah, like, I mean, and I will just point out real quickly here, I do have times and I can have times where I can actually go off in a short burst of energy and move very quickly in a finite time period. But overall, over time, I have a much slower pace. And I think where this causes an issue in productivity is that you just see more examples of moving more quickly, moving faster. I think in a lot of cases, the traditional productivity advice is designed to make you move faster. So when I think about my own productivity, I have to take into account and keep in mind that my pace is generally slow. Okay, now the last cornerstone that I want to talk about is variety. So INFPs tend, because our P makes us very open to possibilities, and wanting to stay open to those possibilities, we tend to have a lot of ideas, a lot of interests, a lot of various projects that we want to work on, and we often we don't know which way to go at any given time. Like, we're getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And because we tend to be more unstructured by nature and more open to those possibilities, we can have a hard time focusing in and putting our energy onto something so that we can move it forward. We do want to get, like I said earlier, we want to move with the flow of our energy, and we tend to want to move like among projects all at the same time. And that can definitely be done, but it can certainly cause issues for INFPs who aren't used to working like this, or again, who are seeking out advice, and you're hearing, you got to focus, you got to niche down. Again, it's you work on one thing till it's done, right? So that would be you're working in a linear fashion, you're working in a straight line. And INFPs can come to find that they can work on a variety of things at once and allow the flow between those activities. They just have to really kind of view it in a certain way. So anyways, those are the 3 cornerstones of INFP productivity. And also, let me just, before we end here, I do want to also mention that it's not just these 3 things individually, they're all happening at the same time. And that can really that can be tricky in terms of productivity, in terms of figuring out how to be productive while honoring your own unique qualities and energy rhythms. So just to recap before I end this video, the cornerstones are intuition, slowness, and variety. Okay? And in the next video I will talk about what a productive INFP looks like and how they're able to work with those cornerstones and make sort of a unique productivity system for themselves. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.